Hi, it's Valerie again. It's Wednesday, July 18th, 2018. A couple of days ago, on the 16th, it was the anniversary of the death of someone kind of very, very shocking death. John F. Kennedy Jr. at the age of 38 passed away in a plane crash. Wouldn't it be amazing if that didn't really happen? Think how things could be so different today if he had been senator of New York instead of Hillary. Because if he had run, he would have won, and we all know that. President Trump's tweet the other day where he referred to Lisa Page as a layer, was that a typo? No. She's one of the many layers that Peter Strzok was referring to in his very indignant tirade, where he's defending himself, saying there's so many layers above him, so many layers below him, so many people that he rattled off all their titles who would have to be part of a conspiracy. He can't possibly do bad doings in his position all on his own. So of course he's innocent. But all he did was name his co-conspirators. He's not innocent. Only he's just one of the many layers of a very deep state, as was Lisa Page. Lisa Page, initials LP. Another way to say record. We heard something about records, like Elton John's records, when President Trump was in Great Falls, and he was carrying on about how he has broken more records than Elton John. Elton John's kind of records are also known as LPs. Lisa Page. Lisa Page was broken. That means she was singing. That means she spilled the beans. And she had already done so before she testified to Congress. Testifying to Congress was just, publicity icing on the cake, just like Peter Strzok's was. Had nothing to do with the real information that they had already divulged. So be careful when you listen to the president's words. Don't judge him too quickly as being a little goofy and typos and all kinds of misspoken. He does not misspeak. Give him a little bit of credit here. He's a little bit smarter than anybody wants to admit. And as the deep state figures this out, they get more and more afraid and more desperate. But the president's words, he gave you a clue a long time ago. He has all of the best words. So, the president called a press conference or something to announce that he had misspoken, and we know he doesn't do that. But to announce that he had misspoken about Russia, and yes, he does know that they are hacking us. Because, our intel told us so. So he has to agree with them, or he's undermining our democracy and all of our institutions. Our intel discovered the Russian fingerprints. Of course, it was China that left the Russian fingerprints. And China is a lot of CIA agents, very active in China, and not on America's behalf, but on deep state's behalf. But President Trump didn't need to get into that right then. That was the time to acknowledge the Russian fingerprints and our crack intel who discovered them. And today even, he's going on about our democracy at risk, at stake, and how we have to preserve it. But we live in a constitutional republic. We don't live in a democracy. When President Trump falls for that democracy line that we hear in the mainstream media and from Democrats, he means Democrats. He does not mean America. He means deep state Democrats and Republicans who work together with the deep state Democrats. There are a lot of dots in the stories today to try and find the truth. You gotta connect them. There's China, there's Russia, there's North Korea, there's Iran, there's uranium, there's the pardon of the Hammond brothers, there's Elton John's organ. Is it a Hammond organ, I wonder? In Oregon, where there's uranium mines? I don't know, there's an awful lot of dots, aren't there? We gotta connect them all in the right order if you want to make the picture correctly. And there's going to be some dots that you have to toss out. There's going to be some dots that are very tempting. Oh, this is a juicy dot. Let's put this in the picture. But it doesn't belong. It's a misdirection dot. But as you start to collect them and put them together, you'll see a picture begin to develop before your eyes. And you'll know which path to follow to connect them correctly. And you'll know the dots that don't fit, and you can know to toss them out. It's a process. And just because you have a couple of wrong dots, just because you got misled a couple of times, just because your picture's incomplete, that doesn't mean give up. That doesn't mean you're wrong. That doesn't mean, oh, it's too complicated. That doesn't mean, oh, it's a stupid conspiracy and I can't work with this theory anymore. I'm going to go live the real life in the real world and get out of this nutcase conspiracy theorist world. But it isn't a nutcase conspiracy theorist world. There are conspiracies, and those who reject the whole idea of conspiracy theorists are pushing some of the most wacky conspiracy theories themselves. What is this Trump's campaign colluding with Russia? That's the stupid conspiracy, but they've pushed it very successfully, and a lot of people are buying it, and they think they're being very mainstream, very knowledgeable, very up to date with the news. It's just the dumbest conspiracy ever. That has nothing to do with anything. That's a dot you can toss out. BibleGateway.com had a daily verse on Monday. It's a good one. Colossians chapter 2, verses 9 and 10. For in Christ all the fullness of the deity lives in bodily form. And in Christ you have been brought to fullness. He is the head over every power and authority. Now, a lot of authorities here on earth don't care to acknowledge that. A lot of the deep staters are totally anti-Christian, anti-God. They think that they are the authority. They and their little group, their society, they are the authority. They run the show. And they're about to get a rude awakening, a great awakening, that no, that's not the case after all. There's a higher authority than even them.